Right now on Denver7 News at 5, get ready for new coronavirus restrictions.
Fighting rising case numbers, leaders in Denver are cracking down.
We're waiting for a vaccine, but this is indeed scientifically proven the best vaccine we have right now.
As Denver takes aim at masks and group gatherings, Governor Polis is laying out his plan for who gets a shot first when Colorado finally gets a vaccine.
Not just the health issue, it's saving lives, preventing the overwhelming of our hospitals. It's also our economy.
We're breaking down the new rules, restrictions, and guidance as leaders urge Coloradans to step up once more and protect our neighbors. Hi, good evening and welcome to Denver7 News at 5. I'm Ann Trujillo.
And I'm Shannon Ogden. Glad you're with us tonight. Coronavirus case numbers are climbing sharply in our state, and that's prompting some new restrictions in Denver. The big takeaways: if you are outside hanging out with somebody who doesn't live in your home, you have to wear a mask. Private indoor gatherings, the limit's going down from 10 to 5 people from different households. The city says restaurants and bars won't be affected by the change. They are already taking extra steps to sanitize and distance guests.
And this is the reason why Denver's taking action. Coronavirus case numbers are climbing, in fact, all across Colorado. Our state reported more than 1,300 new cases. That's 3 days in a row of more than 1,000 new cases, and it brings our state's total above 83,000. The number of hospital beds in use due to coronavirus up a little at 434, and it's above the low point of around 200 that we saw in early September, and far below the peak of nearly 1,300 that we saw in April.
And as the case numbers hit record levels again, the mayor of Denver and the governor made major announcements today.
They say planning and taking action now will help our state avoid the worst of this pandemic. Denver7's Jessica Porter breaks it all down for us.
On the third day this week of over 1,000 new positive cases in Colorado, Denver issued new restrictions to curb the virus.
These additional steps, we're aiming to strike a balance between keeping people healthy and, frankly, keeping Denver's economy alive.
Masks must now be worn outdoors when you're with someone outside of your household, and gatherings are limited to no more than 5 people. The new restrictions will remain in place until November 16th.
We must take these additional steps over the next 30 days and do the hard work that's needed now so that we can enjoy the holiday seasons with our families.
Meanwhile, Governor Polis and doctors from CDPHE laid out the state's vaccine distribution plan being submitted to the CDC. When a vaccine becomes available, supply will be limited, so they have to prioritize who gets it first.
If we get, 1,000 vaccines in December, that doesn't make much of a difference at all on the trajectory of the virus. So it's about efficacy, and it's about quantity and the date.
Healthcare workers, first responders, and residents of long-term care facilities will be at the front of the line. Then those who are unhoused, living in group homes, students and workers staying in congregate housing, essential workers, and high-risk individuals. Once the vaccine is widely available, the general public will have access to it.
Even after the dosage is available, hopefully, early next year for widespread, many of them require 2 doses that are 30 days apart, so that immunity isn't even necessarily there until 45 days or so after that first dose.
There are several companies in phase 3 of their COVID vaccine trial. Pfizer believes they may have one ready by late November or early December. Jessica Porter, Denver7.
And we just learned Arapahoe County also taking action to tackle rising case numbers. Starting tonight, last call for alcohol is moving up to 11 p.m. instead of midnight, and gatherings of friends and neighbors are being limited to 10 people or fewer.
This afternoon, there are new voluntary evacuations because of the Cameron Peak fire. Strong winds are really creating some challenges for those tackling what is now the largest ever wildfire in Colorado. People in Pinewood Reservoir and Flatiron Reservoir are being urged to consider evacuating right now. It's burned 167,000 acres. That is bigger than Denver, Arvada, and Broomfield combined.
And this is a live look now from Red Feather Lakes in Larimer County. The skies, yeah, you can see the smoke out there, and definitely a little haze out there as the Cameron Peak fire burns nearby.
Katie LaSalle joins us now at 5. It's bone dry statewide. Then when you throw in the winds, that's not good for the fire danger.
Absolutely not. Our air quality here as well will be impacted tonight just based on that huge plume of smoke that's moving into a lot of the metro area at this hour. If you do suffer from respiratory issues, be aware that air quality will be a concern at least through Saturday. Your headlines: windy conditions will continue for tomorrow tomorrow. So fire danger, unfortunately, is going to be high once again, especially into our mountains and foothills. We are tracking our next cold front, though, on Sunday, which will hopefully bring a little bit of relief to those firefighters up near the Cameron Peak fire. Last recorded wind gusts up near Estes Park, though, at 34 miles per hour, extremely windy near Berthoud Pass. And based on the wind direction and the smoke, that is why we are under this air quality warning here across the metro area until at least 4 o'clock tomorrow. Fire danger again with high wind warnings in place. We'll take you through the 7-day forecast, though, because we do have a little bit of moisture on there, which we much needed, guys.
All right, Katie, thank you very much. As you know, outdoor seating has been so important for restaurants during this pandemic. Cities like Longmont have shut down sections of streets to make space for seating. But with winter coming, that city is rethinking their plans. Denver7 Sloan Dickey reports that it's not just concern for customers sitting out in the cold, it's also about road safety.
Yeah, business owners here in Longmont tell me that these cement barriers have been crucial in bringing customers into their restaurants this summer. But these are some of the last cement barriers here in the city of Longmont along Main Street. And now business owners on this strip have started a petition to keep these cement barriers here in order to keep those customers coming back during the winter months. Like most restaurant owners during the coronavirus outbreak,
a lot of restaurants are struggling.
Andrea Bullard works hard to make her business work. But fortunately, the restaurants on her block have been turned inside out.
Barriers are down through most of the street, except for this block and then a couple blocks up on the other side.
Several restaurants on Longmont's Main Street have turned parking space into a valuable alfresco oasis.
And it's been interesting to see what other people do with their space. Like Rosalie's made almost like a little green backdrop for their space, and it was really sweet. So that's been really fun too.
But the city's winter plans may put their business plans out in the cold.
If these go away, it means cutting a percentage of my patronage out.
On November 2nd, the city plans to remove these barriers, reopening the street to traffic and snowplows.
We're going to have those driving snow events or those heavy snow events, and we're going to need to really make sure that those roads are kept clear.
Already most of the barriers have been removed along Main Street, but these restaurant owners aren't giving up theirs without raising a storm of their own.
I got onto some of us and wrote a little letter, my husband and I together, and put it out on our Facebook page.
Their online petition gained hundreds of signatures in just a few days, but it likely won't be enough to keep the barriers.
We just want to kind of remove that hazard as we move into these winter months here.
But city officials say innovative ideas like this won't be frozen out.
And so we are going to look at how do we keep that momentum going through the winter? How do we create some of these, again, winterized or winter-friendly areas where people can still congregate safely
as small businesses come together to survive the winter. Sloan Dickey, Denver7.
Coming up on Denver7 News, buying a house in Colorado slipping out of reach. A new report shows why it's getting tougher to afford the home you want.
Plus, a flood of ballots. People across the country are voting early in droves, prompting predictions that 2020 could be a historic election year.
And a much-needed repair for a decades-old roof.
I'm still without words.
How a local company stepped up to help a disabled veteran.